Flyover State of Film was shot in front of a live studio audience.
Welcome back to the Flyover State of Film. We've missed you guys. It's been a while since we've done a flyby, since we've done a bracket, even though what we haven't planned today is not technically a bracket, but we're going to bracket anyway. As always, with me, my special little boys, we have Brian, Joe, and TJ. How's it going, guys? How's your assholes with all the toilet paper you use?
I started using paper towels, but now my plumbing is ruined, so I'm just shitting in buckets.
Oh my god.
I've taken 3 showers a day because I poop a lot, and I have no toilet paper left.
What about you, Brian? How's your asshole?
Oh, no, well, see, I always already stockpiled toilet paper, so I'm actually selling it around my neighborhood for a tidy profit.
Are you going door to door?
No, they come to me, baby.
Or he sends his son out. He's like, you do it.
My son has like a sandwich board he wears that has like a roll of toilet paper on it. He like walks up and down the street.
Here, take this white paper, wrap it around yourself, and go dance on the front lawn like you're.
I tell him he's playing Mummy, and I wrap him up, and I have him walk down.
I feel like your son will just get savvy though and be like, "Yo, I got you on the side."
Yeah.
He's pulling a little hustle, he's skimming off the top. I pretend I don't notice because it's entrepreneurial.
And then he's like, "Dad, I googled how to make your own hand sanitizer. We could sell this shit too. We're gonna take Mom's shampoo bottles and put it in that and sell it."
I mean, 90% alcohol, aloe vera, and that's it, bitch. That's all you need. So, we've heard this argument before. Either you've said it or you've heard it. Remakes versus originals. Everybody's complaining about remakes every day.
Everybody hates remakes because
everybody. But I'm
talking about the people, not the remakes.
Genuinely loved Little Women remake, and me and Brian loved Suspiria. So there are valuable remakes out there, and we wanted to put it up to the test to see if we truly prefer the originals over the remakes, or there are cases where we prefer the remakes. So when we were designing this bracket or discussion, whatever you want to call it, we noticed that horror dominated this category. So we decided to just go full horror.
I had a little theory about this too. I was trying to think about it, and it's like, a lot of times when in the era when the originals came out, horror was seen as kind of a lesser type of filmmaking. It's where a lot of directors like get their start. It's cheaper and shit. Yeah. And then it was like when executives realized that it was profitable because it's cheap, because you can do horror on the cheap. That's when the remake boom really happened. And like, so yeah. I don't know if that observation doesn't mean anything. I guess I was just thinking about the nature of horror remakes and why specifically horror gets even more remakes. You know?
Yeah. So. I also just
That's
think.
Fair.
They're a little more friendly to produce a remake of a horror. You get a little more different or the same with them.
And I think the fans are also forgiving.
Yeah, you don't see remakes of like dramas or comedies too much because it's like, you kind of one and done. You hit those same beats.
I mean, unless you're A Star Is Born, you can remake that shit like 4 times.
All right. I don't know. TJ,
Or Little
do you
Women. I mean, I guess.
do you have a pen or
same
pencil? There you go. So you're gonna keep track of this bitch.
Great.
Give it an O and an R, and then just give just a point each whenever we decide what we want. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around the crew like we've done in the past with the brackets. We're gonna start off with Let the Right One In, 2008 Swedish film. This is the only foreign film that we have on our bracket.
Although you probably could have
Versus,
done an all foreign remakes because obviously
yeah.
foreign films get remade all the time over here.
And I wanted to add the caveat to give it a fighting chance. We decided to have movies that we've all watched at least once. That way, we can actually argue their merits.
Some
So,
of these, I don't even think it is an argument.
but we're gonna have them anyway because we need content.
Yeah,
So,
we need that content, baby.
we're gonna start off with Brian with Let the Right One In versus Let Me In, 2008 original versus 2010 remake. Take it away, Brian.
Yeah, this one I saw it backwards. Obviously, I saw the American one first, and then I saw the original. I loved Let Me In, so maybe that tempers me a little bit because I was already so very much in love with that movie. And although I think Let the Right One In is really great, it's very similar. So I already had a movie that I kind of really enjoyed, and I had, I didn't. It's not that it was better or worse for me. I guess is where I'm going with that. But also amazing. I mean, like historically, as far as like whose career is what now in these days. I can't take away from Matt Reeves, who went on to do the amazing Planet of the Apes sequels, and is now currently working on what looks to be a very cool Batman movie. Cody Smith McPhee, only not annoying character in the recast of the X-Men as Nightcrawler, so got to give him that. He was all right. Chloe Grace Moretz is great. She's really good in that movie, and she has continued to be good in things. So
She's
I'm
great
gonna
in
throw.
Suspiria.
Yeah, excellent in Suspiria. That's 2 Suspirias. Go watch the 2018 Suspiria. It's fucking great.
She's a really good actress.
But anyway, so I'm gonna throw my weight behind the remake. Not so much that because I think
you're gonna start with the weight shit.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Throwing my weight around.
God damn it, man! All right, 1 point for the remake. Joe, where do you land on this one?
So I did see Let the Right One In first. I remember that being like it sounds weird, like the foreign indie movie you should be watching. It was like the movie that anyone would bring up and be like, "Oh, this is just like the perfect love story and this and that." And you watched it and it was like, "Oh, this is a really good movie." There was enough to be hype around it. Having said that, when I saw Let Me In, not even the language barrier because I was engaged in both of them. I did enjoy Let Me In better. I think it has stronger performances. Richard Jenkins is great in that movie. As her like caretaker. And
I think we've talked about him on the show, but underrated character actor Richard Jenkins. He's just fucking in everything. He's so good.
Watch his Oscar-nominated movie, The Visitor. All about
and also he was in Shape of Water.
And he was in Shape of Water. I mean, he was nominated for an Oscar for
The Visitor. Yeah. I got you.
Anyway, no, I really like Let Me In. I only watched it once. I've only watched both these once. Let Me In stuck with me a little longer than Let the Right One In. I feel like the Let the Right One In also had a lot to say about like current day. Was it Swedish? Current day Swedish culture that I didn't get some of the things in it. Where Let Me In, I thought was just like it's a kind of a brutal story that's heartbreaking. So,
100%. So one point for the remake then.
Yeah, I'm going Let Me In. I think of everything we have, this is a stronger remake, and one that was well deserved to tell in America, not just to get money off of like a property.
Yeah, that's
So
something I didn't
Wonder
say, but I
Woman.
agree with that. It didn't feel like a hustle. It was like
Mhm.
Matt Reeves felt like he really was trying to do it justice or what
Yeah.
have you.
Yeah, it felt like Matt really did love the original, and he wanted to bring it to the American audiences. Wonder Woman, where are you going?
Well,
Wonder Watchmen.
yeah, I've got to say, like, I saw
Wonder
Let
Woman
Me In.
in her time of the month.
I saw Let
Vote
Me
Warren,
In.
everybody.
Down with the
Everybody,
patriarchy, guys.
yeah. I actually saw Let Me In first, like everybody else, because it's an American film and saw it in theaters. And big horror fan, so you go and see. And then after that, you go and see Let the Right One In, just see where it came from and stuff like that. Both are shot and color wise like so similar. The biggest difference is like the main kids got the super white hair, or the what is it's the main kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Super white hair, right? And the other kid, like the characters all look different. But I'm saying like I think Joe said this movie had like the grim sadness to it. And I feel like it being American, you really got to feel that more. The bullying in the school, especially at that time, was huge. So using that, like Matt Reeves' visions and the way the camera worked with like Richard Jenkins in the back of the trunk where the kid's getting the beer and he like, just the way it was shot, stuff like that. I'm definitely going with the remake on this one. I like the original one and stuff like that, but I don't know. I'm an American. Gotta watch American things.
America.
Oh my god.
America.
America.
So the
Remake
remake
America
wins.
great again.
So one
Well, what are
point
your
for the.
thoughts, Mr.
I weirdly watched the foreign first, and this is even before I was this douchebag that wrote reviews. I just stumbled upon this fucking movie. I honestly don't remember how, but I watched it and I fucking loved it.
Do you?
I honestly I prefer the performances of the kids in the foreign, but I prefer Richard Jenkins in the remake.
That's fair.
So if we could mix those two, because there's a weird dynamic in the original one, and where you're almost weirded out or creeped out by the kid, by the boy,
Yeah.
more than in the remake. In the remake, you feel for him more,
Yeah.
and
just steal
you
money for
identify
candy.
with him.
Oscar.
And in the remake, you're just weirded out by everybody. Like the weird old dude with the kid that's killing people, and the kid that's just a weird freak in the park.
Do
So
you?
it's more of a weird nature, outside of you just identifying with the kid that happens to fall in love with the vampire, and now he's the new Richard Jenkins.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the Reels channel?
No.
It was a cable channel like dedicated for like movie nerds. Like it's like almost all the YouTube shows we watch today. Reels channel was the channel, and I got really into like this shit in like 2007, 2008 when Let the Right One In, and every time like Leonard Maltin had a show on Reels channel. Like,
Okay.
every time like someone would come on and this would be the fucking indie they'd be pumping out that
So
year.
yeah, I agree. I agree with Joe that this one became quickly the indie to watch, the mainstream indie.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I gotta watch this. I'm really into movies, and being like,
That,
it was.
but that said, remakes gets a point for the first round.
Coming out strong out of the gate.
Yeah, second round. It's a doozy. We have Dawn of the Dead, Romero's classic from 1978, going up against arguably the only good Zack Snyder movie, Dawn of the Dead 2004. We're going to start off with our sexy boy Joe on this round.
Such a sexy boy.
Ooh, I'm this sexy,
boy.
sexy boy. So, man, I'll be honest. I've never seen Dawn of the Dead 78 all the way through. It's been a hard movie for me to get my hands on.
Well, yeah, it's definitely been hard to.
It
come
is
across
hard.
lately.
I've wanted to watch it. I'm sure I could find it. I've never looked that hard. I know of the movie. I've seen most of it. I've
I think it is about to get another DVD release. Or
Is it? Okay.
I don't know. With this virus, I don't know.
But,
We're going to need DVDs and Blu-rays because,
Dawn
Apocalypse is coming.
But Dawn
So
of
I'm guessing
the
you're
Dead,
going to go with the remake then.
I would like
based
to
on how
talk
you
I
set
would-
it up.
I
All right,
would
yeah.
talk about 04 a little bit. I watched a lot of the Day of the Dead was on Sci-Fi Channel a lot more, for the record. It's probably on right now. Dawn of the Dead 04, I remember going to the theater. It was the first horror movie. Me and my buddy saw it. It was the first horror movie I saw, being like, wow, not all horror movies are scary. They're a ton of fun. And thinking the only scary scene was the intro with the little girl. Being surprised by that, and then we laughed when the guy got hit by the ambulance intro, because it was just like, I guess, so shocking, but it was also kind of funny. And then I just really liked 04 Dawn of the Dead. I liked that it ran, the movie fucking moved, there was humor. You actually rewatch today, there is some really intense scenes, like the baby, like the birth.
Yeah.
It does uniqueness.
Oh, you gotta watch that extended cut.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Even
Zombie Baby? Come
Zombie
on.
Baby, yeah.
Like, of course.
Yeah. What do you
Zombie
think
Baby.
It's the only thing that came out on DVD.
Yeah, hell
You
yeah.
couldn't get a non-theatrical release in 2004. Unrated. And you're like, do they show boobs? Do they show... Nope, just zombie baby.
This extra Zombie Baby.
So Dawn of the
Okay,
Dead.
that's Snyder cut.
It's a fucking good movie. So you could count me as half a point since I didn't see.
All right, half a point.
He only gets
TJ.
his point only counts half. His opinion only counts half.
Jesus.
TJ, you actually did the the zombie marathon.
Got the poster. Look at it, sitting up there. It's right up there.
So you should have it slightly fresher than most of us. Where are you going?
Also, guys, anyone wants to check out Dawn of the Dead? It's real low quality, but that's what it's like, a VHS version. But it's on YouTube, which is, I mean, if you're gonna watch an old movie, watch the VHS version. Why the fuck not? Dawn of the Dead '78 is my favorite horror movie of all time. I saw it real young with a bunch of my buddies, and just from the biker scene, which is super gruesome for what it was in '78. They didn't use super crazy blood, but watching the guy doing the arm wrestling thing and then getting his arm torn off by all the zombies, just the entire movie. Now, I'm going to talk about 04 Zack Snyder. Again, Yusef, you said this, probably Zack Snyder's only good movie, but I mean, it's a great fucking movie. This movie, again, saw in high school with a buddy, from the Down with the Sickness version, where it's like with the wedding band doing it. So fucking good. The dude from Modern Family probably has some of the best comedic delivered lines in any horror movie, where he's like, oh, why don't we just can't have someone with a hand sandwich and run across the parking lot because the other guy's across the it's just those type of things. It's a great fucking movie.
Who knew that was Phil Dunphy? Like,
exactly.
It blew my mind, like 10 years later, when someone's like, that was Phil Dunphy in that movie, the asshole. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Actors doing other roles?
Actors what? Acting?
Yeah.
Being good at other things?
All those type of characters.
Little trivia, Ty Burrell, also the voice of Mr. Peabody in the Mr. Peabody and Sherman movie and Netflix TV show.
I didn't read that. Yeah. Trivia.
I haven't seen that.
But it's something about Zack Snyder.
Going, TJ?
I was going to say, Zack Snyder is a great film, but it also has a little bit too much of a comedic touch and a light touch to it. I mean, it's fun. It's super actiony, which you would expect from a Zack Snyder film. He also has a zombie movie coming out for Netflix soon, which I will definitely check out.
Oh, yeah, I'll check that out. Sure.
Yeah, but I want pure zombie
Clearly
horror.
going back to what he's done correctly.
Well, and he's a visualist no matter what. The movie's going to look good. It's going to have some cool shit in it. Like, it's going to have some good-looking scenes. It might not, structurally, we'll see, but...
Had he made a movie, was this his first movie, theatrical? Was he music video director turned...
When did 300 come out?
300
way
was
later.
For
that was
sure.
that was 08 or 07, maybe.
All right, get
mean,
back
it was his
to
next thing.
zombies.
So
All right.
regardless, if I'm going to watch a zombie movie, like a horror zombie movie, and get the message of what zombie movies were supposed to be from the beginning, Dawn of the Dead '78 is the way I'm going with this one.
I agree. Yeah. The thing that I'm gonna disagree with TJ is that it's too much comedic. I feel like 78 is fucking hilarious. It's
Yeah.
terrifying, and it has a great commentary on capitalism. But the thing that sets it apart from Snyder's one, which is great, I love it. I'll have fun with it. Snyder's is too much action, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy. I enjoyed it too much. Just saying, like it didn't feel like a zombie movie. It felt like an action movie. It felt like a comedy movie, and kind of felt like fucking like what Shaun of the Dead did. Like the parody of what Shaun of the Dead did. It was action, comedy, and zombie at the same time. Snyder did it also, but he was trying to do it in a serious manner. It wasn't a parody.
But I would argue
But
that Shaun of the Dead has more emotion and more serious
yeah,
moments in it
no,
also, and does that part of
obviously
it better
Shaun of the
too.
Dead is
Yeah.
better. Shaun of the Dead is the exception of the rule in the sense that it's a parody that perfectly fits it's the genre that it's parodying. Um, but yeah, I enjoy not to drag this on too much. 78 is my vote. Romero
What are we gonna do if there's a
masterfully
tie?
follow.
Well, I only have half a point.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Okay. Fair
Yeah, yeah.
enough.
For now, I mean, we're gonna flip a coin probably if it's a tie, but Joe sacrificed half his point, so probably Romero is gonna win this round. But yeah, Snyder, thank you for your only good movie.
It's
But
his
I'm
first
gonna go
movie
with the
too.
master. With
It
the
is his
master.
first full-length feature film.
Good for fucking him.
He
Yeah, it's a
made
good one.
more. He made a
Hey man,
Morrissey music video before that.
beginner's luck.
Beginners.
So 2-2 half.
Two against the half. Do I guess do I even get to give my opinion, even though it
Yeah,
doesn't
go
matter?
ahead. Just don't drag it on, man, because you talk too
Yeah,
much.
yeah, I talk a lot. That's true. That's fair. No, I don't have that much else to say. You guys hit all the beats. I was just gonna say basically the same thing. Like, obviously, I think the original Dawn of the Dead's a little bit of a smarter movie. It's got a little bit more to say socially. But Zack Snyder did a great job. He also that was in the era of the fast moving zombie, and I think he made good use of that for the action out. That made because he was making a more actiony movie, he did a good job with that. So yeah, I would still voted for Dawn of the Dead '78. So it would have changed things too much.
Fuck yes.
All right. Original in the board on the board in the board. Somewhere in the
It's on the
somewhere
board.
on the board. So 1-1. Next up is one that's tinged with nostalgia, and it's fitting that is starting off with our resident It Boy because
It's
we
your
got
It Boy. Your
it's
It
our
Boy.
It Boy. Look at our It
Who's
Boy.
that? It's It Boy.
So we got 1990s TV movie Stephen King's.
I almost wanted to say that this one wasn't fair because you're talking about a TV movie with a TV movie's budget and stuff, but
Oh man, but
because it was so highly regarded due to nostalgia, I'll allow it.
Yeah, that's why I said if you heard me, Brian,
I did hear you. I heard
said
you.
We need them very relevant It clicks, baby.
baby. So
Yeah, right. People forgot about it as like faster than Game of Thrones. They're like, oh, that second movie's only okay. We're done with you. Bye.
Yeah. Goddamn.
Fucking CGI faces.
1990
De-aging 12-year-olds to 9-year-olds.
1990s It
2020.
versus 2017/2019's It. TJ, what's up, baby?
I got it. Oh fuck! The '90s It actually scared me as a kid, which probably would do with anybody at that point, because Tim Curry did have a couple moments in there. But when you rewatch that fucking thing, the only thing you pull out is Jonathan Brandis is good and Tim Curry's great.
Is he
how
good?
old is Seth Green? He's been working he's been playing a character that age for 40 years.
Well, he's been acting.
Jonathan Brandis good, or is he just dead and we're just sympathetic?
Oh, damn.
I'm not gonna
hold
take
it
that
out.
Everyone check out our Sidekicks episode. I don't know, it's like episode 7 or something like that. But
Yeah, Joe
Right,
went
made
hard
me
in
watch
the paint.
Sidekicks. You could have made me watch Ladybugs. You didn't.
Just stay tuned.
You could have made me
Basi-
watch Stay Tuned. There's a DVD bunker about that.
I mean, so like maybe people don't know, the '90s version is a 4-hour long that was cut between 2 nights on a weekend for 2 hours apiece. First
It's actually barely over 3 hours because of commercials.
commercials, yeah. So basically, it's just like the first version,
Right,
with just the
nerd.
kids, is great. I have fun with it. The '90s one, and then the second one was awful. John Ritter couldn't fucking save it. But the 2007, are we including It Chapter 2?
Yeah, it's
That
the
hurt.
whole thing, right? It's the franchise.
Yeah.
It's a franchise.
Oh,
So
wow.
the first movie for me was my favorite movie of 2017 of all movies, not just horror shit like that. I had fucking fun with it. I thought Bill Skarsgård, right?
Yes.
Pennywise murdered the fucking role. There was nothing better. And also the group of kids were coming off the Stranger Things fucking thing where a group of kids was the thing to do. I think it was fucking strong as hell. I think all the kids were strong. All the casting great. Then we get to It Chapter 2. That movie fucking sucked. I don't care how long it was. I don't care about how good the casting was of the adults. Everything in between that shit was garbage. They didn't even use Pennywise, the strongest part of the first film, in this film. He maybe had 5 minutes of screen time. Otherwise, they used CGI characters. It was garbage.
Well, can I just help you?
Sure.
They also cut in.
Fucking
they
Joe,
cut
man.
any-
This is Wonder Woman's time.
Well, you know what? I just want to mansplain it a little bit for him. They fucking cut. What pissed me off so much about it too, I'm just gonna adding on to this conversation is they fucking any tense moment they cut with shitty jokes.
Shitty jokes. So many stupid fucking jokes. Even like Eddie's dealing with seeing the bully for the first time when they're growing up. That entire scene made me laugh because it was done right. But I'm just like, this is just fucking stupid. Like he's backing him behind the shower. Okay, regardless. If I'm going off of the best parts of each one, the first parts of each one, I got to stay with It 2017. Tim Curry's a classic villain. You always see him on every T-shirt. You go to a Comic-Con, but Bill Skarsgård, man, that kid fucking delivered. So I'm going It 2017.
So 1 point for the remake.
Your turn.
Can we
Goes to you.
argue that the remakes kids are better, but in terms of the story, but adults in the original is better in terms of how they deliver the story?
God, no, the adults in the original are trash.
I don't think it was their fault though. I think they were actually no.
And I've seen this movie probably a lot more than you guys have because my kid got obsessed with it last year. And I wouldn't let him watch the new one. I've seen the It miniseries like a half dozen times in the last year.
Okay, I've done
It's
that.
worse
Oh,
than
your
you remember. Like, it's not
Your
even
kid got
about it.
obsessed with the original.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie when you're a kid because it's not too scary,
It's
but
good
scary
starter
enough.
horror, right? It's good starter horror,
Yeah.
but it's like it's really atrocious.
Let me tell you.
It's just that I have such a bad taste in my mouth of that last It that I'm
Seriously.
trying to grasp for anything for the remake. Since we're judging it as a
But
whole,
even the first movie alone is better than the miniseries, honestly.
I'd rather watch
even if
that.
the cinematography alone from the original, the first one was fantastic. I don't know why they didn't bring the same cinematographer for the second one, but it is fantastic.
Are you sure they didn't, or are you just shooting from the hip?
No, I'm sure they didn't. Yeah. Fuck it. Yeah, I'm gonna vote for the remake because it wasn't my favorite of 2017, like TJ, but it was a blast to watch. I generally did enjoy, even though it did borrow a lot from Stranger Things, even though it had a predictable formula of, the kids get separated, that one kid gets a scare, and it happened over and over again, but I still had a blast with it. It looked awesome, and like you said, Penny, even if Tim Curry, the legend Tim Curry, held that mantle for 27 years, it's hard to argue that he was replaced by Bill.
Yep.
So, vote for the remake.
Could it be the first horror icon that was replaced? You know what I mean? Because I mean, everyone's tried.
That actually has been effectively replaced, like that it stuck, that it worked.
But
maybe, yeah.
But I think the Tim my time now.
It's Brian's time.
It's actually my time.
Stop interrupting.
Never mind. You don't have to hear my thought about Tim Curry.
Well, nobody wants to take. I'm not going to sit here and shit on Tim Curry. Tim Curry is the saving grace of that movie. He's very good. The kid performances are serviceable, and the adults are bad. The movie is bad. It looks bad. It's cheap. It looks cheap. It's just really, really bad. Like I said, I've just had a lot more experience with it in the last couple of years. It did grow on me, but that's only because I could see how much my son enjoyed it, and so I couldn't. But it's not good, and I'm not going to pretend it's good. I will be the one defender. I'll stand up for the It Chapter 2. I enjoyed It Chapter 2 very much. I thought it moved. I thought it told a lot of good there's a lot in it, and it's cluttered, and it's messy. But I never got bored because it was always showing me something and telling me something more about either a character or a story or progressing a relationship. So I was fine with that. I thought a lot of the adult performances were really good. The guy they matched up to Eddie Kasparek was amazing. It was they were literally used a time machine to bring that dude to life. I will say, I don't care what you say about Bill Hader, he wasn't as funny as Finn Wolfhard was in the first movie. That's it.
Yeah.
And if you had, and I will say that I will knock the movie that had Bill Hader. He should have stolen the show. And I like that they gave an emotional arc. I like that they did something with his character and gave him a purpose, and that was interesting to me. But how do you have Finn Wolfhard being a funnier version of Richie Tozer than grown-up Richie Tozer? It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I always put that maybe that they were using that as an arc whenever the thing happened with Ricky as a kid. And and
also he does say he's not writing his own jokes, so maybe he's just in such a dark place because he never resolved this shit. So maybe, and I get that, and even so, okay, well, then you've just made a point that's even better. There's even more to that movie than I was giving it credit for.
Thank you. Maybe it's probably written as a reflection of, an actual comic who'd be like, well, no, this is how he actually would be.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, for me, this one was a slam dunk. I mean, honestly, the It miniseries isn't even a real movie. It doesn't even deserve to be on this list. So, Joe, if you want to go ahead and give your now that it doesn't mean anything, it absolutely cannot change the facts.
Well,
say whatever.
You have a minute. You have a minute.
All right, I got a minute.
No.
In high school, I remember we were real cranky. Wrestling season, we were cutting weight, and I was like, "Sweet, the It movie, the It TV movie's on." It's been years, and I remember wasting a whole fucking afternoon watching this movie just to see the ending and be like, because I forgot, be like, oh, it's a spider? He's a fucking spider? Ruined everything for me.
What if he was a spider with a clown head?
Even worse.
They made fun of him to death. They bullied him to death.
Yeah, so
I didn't like that part. I thought like I said, I didn't love everything about it, Chapter 2, but I think it's a lot better than it got credit for.
Yusuf has only given me a minute, so I just want to get.
No, let's talk over Joe the rest of his minute.
Yeah, like you did for the other ones.
I know I did. It's a bad problem.
Four guys talk over each other. That's the best kind of podcast there ever was.
It won. Really fun.
All right, your minute's up.
It too. I just hated how
the timer up.
It too. I just hated how there was a fucking video game prompt. It was just like, here's your level, do this mission. Yeah. That fucking drove me crazy about the movie. Having said that, I don't think Tim Curry is a horror icon. I think he's a horror phase.
Jesus.
I don't. I think it's like how as a kid.
I definitely agree that he's not on the level of some of the other people on this list.
I think that's what I was trying to say earlier. I think it's like how for my generation, the Rugrats are the Peanuts, but for no other fucking generation, they're the Peanuts. The Peanuts are the Peanuts.
Right, it is. They're just like more like a blip on the radar. They're
Yeah.
just for millennials.
So for like if you grew up with that TV movie, you'll know, and if you're into horror, you're gonna know the iconography. But there's gonna be kids putting that fucking that face on shirts that don't know what the fuck it is.
All right. Remake gets another point. 2-1 in favor of the remakes. Next up, we have 1981's The Evil Dead versus 2013's The Evil Dead. We got Sam Raimi versus, I'm blanking on the name,
Fede Alvarez.
Fede
Fede.
Alvarez, yeah, of Don't Breathe fame.
of Don't Breathe. That's right. I start off this one. I'm
Did he
going to
make
talk
Crawl too? I don't know.
about. No.
Oh.
No, not him.
2013's Evil Dead. Great fucking movie. Fun. Kept a lot of the original. It elevated it with great practical effects. Obviously, with a better budget because Sam Raimi did it on $20 back in the day. It you can argue that it looks better, but I think it is a deterrent for it being better. Because the reason why I love so much The Evil Dead is because it looks so fucking shitty.
Yeah.
And it gives that low quality adds a level of, I don't know, it submerges you better in the story. At least for me. Obviously, there is nobody that could replace Ash outside of that story. Even if we kept that creepy demonic possession sequences, even if we injected those weird moments of like the main actress, just fucking railing on their friends, it doesn't add that element that Ash is for this movie. Him dealing with the fucking craziness around him, him dealing with the pipe just exploding blood on him, killing his friends, killing his girlfriend. It's on another level, at least for my enjoyment. I do recognize that the remake is a fantastic remake. I love it, honestly. I recently rewatched it. It's fun. I love that they kept the tree scene. I did enjoy the angle of the drug intervention. It adds like another layer to her cathartic moment.
Psychoses.
Yeah, so it had elements that stood on its own, but it did borrow so much from the original that I just kept wanting to watch the original. So I'm gonna vote for the original. 1 point for the original. Brian, where are you going with this one?
I got a secret for you guys.
Uh-oh.
The original Evil Dead isn't even the best Evil Dead movie. Psst, pass it on.
Well, I did put the 81 one, which is the
Yeah.
second.
So you put Evil
Yeah,
Dead
yeah.
2 actually
Yep.
on this list?
Yeah, the Evil Dead,
okay, all right.
which is a remake of Evil Dead.
Right, which is like you could put Evil Dead. All right, well that almost evens it up, but honestly, I still like the remake better. I'm not even gonna go into a bunch of it because Yusuf talked about both a lot. He hit the points I wanted to say. I really like the strong female heroine who's actually the kind of the victim and the hero. I like that. The only thing I didn't like is when she was all fucked up and they brought her back to life and then she was fine, like she didn't have any scarring, or she should have been all mangled when she came up out of that grave. She still could have been a badass, but she should have still looked all fucked up. She had some really fucked up stuff to herself. But I love the practical effects. I love the way, the very creative and disturbing things they had all the different characters do and say to themselves and to each other, and there's just a lot. I love the Evil Dead franchise. I really do. Actually, honestly, if I'm being 100% with you guys, Army of Darkness is the best movie of that franchise. It's not. And so I'm gonna go with the remake on this one. So that's it.
Yo, it's 1-1. Your opinion matters.
Oh my! Finally.
How's it feel? It's good.
It feels kind of nice. I'll start with the remake. That the remake is a creepier movie. It is more of a horror movie. Flyover went for more horror, and I think it was definitely this trend of these remakes actually being shot by guys who and women who get it and want to make good movies and not just like first time like music video directors as the trend was before getting their big break. I feel like they were getting real like auteurs to make these movies, and we're still seeing that today. It also the trailer for the movie, I'm sure I've mentioned this on an episode, also scared the shit out of me twice when it played on TV with the girl under the thing, because one time I was leading up to having sex, fooling around phase, and I look over the side and she's right there on a big fucking TV, and I went, oh! And it probably killed the mood. The other time was fell asleep late at night, not glasses on, TV. I'm like, what's that? And it was the fucking thing on the TV. I'm like, USA Network 2 times got me. Fuck that. Evil Dead 81. Almost everything Yusuf said, I agree with. It's one of the few movies where I actually think the lack of quality look works for it. Both of them. Its age works. The practical effects works for it. The weird Raimi camera angles.
Dutch angles going.
Yeah. So, I know I had more to say about the remake. I'm picking them. I know I have more to say about the remake, but I'm going to go the original.
So 2-1. Wonder Woman, where you going, baby?
I enjoyed both these films. There's a little knock I have into the remake. This isn't its fault at all, because it's a good movie. But I saw a certain movie right before this, a year before this, almost exactly to the date, which kind of fucked me up, which is I went Cabin in the Woods I saw in 2012, leading up into 2013's Evil Dead. So like it had like the same, obviously it's Cabin in the Woods. It's obviously a riff off Evil Dead and stuff like that.
Shaun of the Dead.
It's one of those things. So when I saw Cabin in the Woods and I went and saw Evil Dead, I'm like, I've seen the first half hour of this movie. Obviously, it gets crazy and insane and stuff like that, and the practical effects is incredible. There's something so fucking pure about Evil Dead 2, though. There's something so pure about that. Ash, again, we talked about horror icons a minute ago. He's up there with some of the best. I don't know if it's a hard one to argue as much as Tim Curry's Pennywise, but I gotta say this one might be going to a coin flip. I love the remake actually because Fede Alvarez did some different things with it and went pure horror compared to the Evil Dead 2 where they actually took more.
That was his best. That was the best thing. Like he didn't try to remake the tone of Evil Dead. He did his own horror movie.
You're also not going to get another Chin, and I feel like that was very like you're not.
Bruce
you're not
Campbell's too old now.
Campbell.
Yeah. And I don't know. A lot of people really liked Ash vs. Evil Dead. I found it to be quite repetitive.
But you're not going to get like the remake of just going pure heart. You're not going to get another. You're not going to put a casting call out for like we need a Bruce Campbell type. It just doesn't exist.
Vote with your balls. Where you going?
I'm going with the original, guys. I love the scene.
Right.
I'm going with the original.
2-2.
2-2. Now we have we have two back-to-back.
That was one of the harder ones to pick when I was looking at this list where I thought it was going to go. I was like, this one could go either.
Dawn Dead so far.
Yeah, I feel like it's a cakewalk the next 4.
There's a few that we're just going to be like honorable mention.
Yes. So now that we've overcome the hard ones, we've come to the one that I laughed when it was suggested, but we're gonna just talk about it anyway, which is Halloween 1978 on Carpenters versus Rob Zombie's Halloween 2007. Brian, what's up, my dude?
Like, obviously Halloween 78 is one of the greatest horror movies, slasher movies of all time. So I guess what I'm just going to do is I'm going to say, I think that Rob Zombie's Halloween got like a little unfairly hated on. It's probably his most competent movie.
It's probably his best movie.
Yeah, it probably is. Although I kind of like some of his different movies, but I like them because they're weird and bad sometimes too. So it's
Still some Devil's Rejects.
everybody was all like, oh, I don't want to know the backstory and this, that, and the other. It's like, but he wasn't making like a backstory for the Michael Myers that exists in the 1978 movie. He was just making his own Halloween movie. And so I hate that stupid argument. And I'm like, no, this was just the story he wanted to tell. And if you don't care about the fucked up childhood of this Michael Myers, I don't blame you. That's fine. But quit like tying it to your, you know what I mean? It just doesn't have anything to do with that. That still exists. That's the whole thing we've talked about a million times with remakes anyway. It's like the remake doesn't undo the original. They still, and especially nowadays where literally people just pick and choose what movies out of franchise they think they want, and they just make their own franchise out of it. So, I just, like I said, I'm not going to vote for Rob Zombie's Halloween, but I do think that it kind of got a little bit of an unfair kind of hate, especially like when it first came out, people were okay with it, but then like within a couple years, it was like one of those bottom feeder, like, oh, clearly you have shit taste if you even give this a second look.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's that bad. Like,
I feel the sequel really tainted.
The sequel is pretty fucking bad, but I also appreciate the fact that Rob Zombie basically, they told him, they were like, well, we're gonna make a sequel if you don't, and he was like, okay, I'll do it, even though he didn't want to, and he tried to do something and he made it too weird. But I don't watch that movie. I saw it once. I was like, this is garbage.
He Gremlins too did.
The story of how he made it and why he did what he did, I appreciate. Like, that's okay, good for him. He took a stand or whatever.
So he's Sam Raimi, Spider-Man 3 to.
Yeah, right. He tanked it on purpose.
Gremlins new batch shit.
Gremlins too, yeah. Vote for the original. I'm shocked. I don't know where I'm reeling. Joe, please bring me back to Earth.
Brian made some good points about the Halloween remake. I do think
I'm making him question himself now.
It's fine. I never got the overhate of it, especially with the new one that recently came out. And actually,
oh my God. We could have done that one.
They are fucking rewriting the.
I was gonna say, I think, is that one worse? Are we gonna be able? We're gonna have to have that discussion. Is Halloween 2018
We're gonna
worse?
have that discussion right now. I think the new Halloween is worse because of what you just said. Is they are going back and rewriting shit.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think the 2018 one, it's a good looking movie and stuff, but it's worse than Halloween.
It has a funny little kid in it, and who's Kitty from Arrested Development? The mother.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on her name.
I can't think of her name. Judy Greer.
She's always great. Other than that, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Laurie Strode is better in Halloween H2O. Like the PTSD Laurie Strode thing was done better in H2O. We're not gonna relitigate this, guys.
You could listen to one of our horror episodes and we said the same things. 78, I have nothing to say about it because it is one of the few perfect films to
Mount Rushmore of horror.
And that's it. So Halloween remakes, be damned. This trilogy is going to be a big old fart.
TJ, please tell me you're voting for the remake. I don't understand what's going on.
No, I like the first, I don't know, half hour, 40 minutes of the Rob Zombie's film. I think the one thing that fucks him up, which, I mean, his writing of dialogue is awful. I mean, like, it's some of the worst shit ever. Like,
have you seen Free from Hell?
No,
the sequel to Devil's Rejects that just came out. It is so fucking bad, you guys. Holy shit! I'm like, how did you become so much worse?
In films like that. Yeah, like, I get dialogue in Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses. I get the dialogue in that. But when you do the whole thing where, like, his background, like, the stepfather, the way... I don't care if you fucking grow up in Alabama and you don't fucking wear shoes every day to school. You don't talk like that. People aren't that crazy. Teenagers are not that hypersexualized, and that fucking insane. It's just like one of those things where I was like, oh, okay, now I'm just like getting. But the backstory of him being the bullied up and stuff like that, like I get that. Middletown
And if there had
America.
never been a sequel, it's a good kind of self-contained movie. She kills him at the end. It's just one story. It's one and
There's
done.
no mystical thing.
That's
There's nothing
fine.
about
Like I like that was cool about it. Like
I mean, obviously in the '78 one, they didn't go into like him being controlled by the devil and having to kill his entire family because of the thorn. They used that at some point, but like in this movie, it was just like a guy who got fucking troubled, got huge, and fucking started murdering.
The fact that he does turn into a fucking pro wrestler is pretty funny, though. He's enormous.
The original one is
a wrestler with a inkling for arts and crafts.
I always
It's
hated the
Kane.
way
He's Kane.
his
He's
hair
Kane.
was under his mask. Like it was long, but it was like under. It was like over his face, but under his mask. I was like, you can't see shit. You got no peripheral vision in that mask anyway. Get your hair out of your goddamn eyes.
played by Sabretooth from the original X-Men, guys.
Hell yeah, Tyler Mane. I
So
can't
we're
remember.
voting for the original, 3-2 in favor of the original. I'm not gonna waste time. It's already running long. 78 is a classic. Nobody can touch it. And speaking about touching, we're going to Nightmare on Elm Street.
Where the remake leans real heavy into the pedo.
Real heavy
Next.
into touching.
Next.
And it's fitting again. I didn't set this up. I am a good producer, but I'm not this good. We're starting off again with the guy that watched the marathon for the Nightmare on Elm Street.
My favorite slasher.
Nightmare on Elm Street 1984 versus the fucking remake Nightmare on Elm Street 2010. Another one that has me pins and needles to see who's gonna win. Joe.
You could cancel the bracket. I will take every reverse. Like I'll take the remake over the original over the remake, except for this one of every other movie on this list. The Nightmare on Elm Street remake
irredeemable.
is the worst horror remake they have made and will make by a major studio. And it disappoints me even so much where when they put Freddy in Mortal Kombat like 10, it was the fucking Platinum Dunes Freddy that has a scarecrow face. I don't care if the casting should have been good. It wasn't.
Yeah, that's the one thing they had going for them, and they just totally fucked it up. The only good thing was the casting. Should we just round table this one and move on to the next round?
No, this is the worst. If anyone has anything to say,
I can't imagine anybody even has a good thing to say about it. Like, we had some redeeming qualities for some of the other ones, but I literally find it hard.
There were boobs in it. It was PG-13.
Nice boobs.
There was boobs in it?
No,
There's boobs in it.
Whose boobs?
There's no boobs in
Was it
2000?
Lumi
I don't
Rapis?
think so. I think it's a
I don't know.
PG-13.
This is
It's
what
a
I'll say about.
It's not an R?
No. This is what I'll say. I don't think so. We can fact check that. This is what I'll say about this movie. Is if you binge all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, then you're just leaving so disappointed because you shouldn't be ending on Freddy vs. Jason.
Yes.
It's so bad. I would take Freddy versus Jason. That should be the tagline of our review.
I think Freddy's Dead is a worse movie than
Freddy's
the
Dead
remake.
has like a good set piece or two, and I'm able to watch it, and it's like an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, and
it
it's
wasn't
also not
our
reminding
Nightmare on
you
Elm
of
Street.
a
The
far
remake
superior
was an R-rated movie,
I
so
knew that.
maybe there were boobs, and we just don't.
Yeah, there were boobs.
Oh, it was?
All right, so vote for the original.
There sure was a lot of kid touching, though. I'll tell you, they really leaned into. I mean, I get it. Freddy was a child murderer, but ooh.
No, with the kid touching, even in the remake, they didn't even have the balls to be like, yeah, he was a pedo. They were like, oh, feel bad for him. Do this. Actually, you know what? That he did it. Like,
here's the room.
So TJ, that's 4-2, correct?
Correct. 4-2.
That's correct. All right. So we're moving on to one that could be an argument. I don't see it, but it could be an argument because I did enjoy this remake. Friday the 13th, 1981. I'm basing it off the second one since I think this remake doesn't go the mom angle at all.
Actually, Mom does show up at the beginning of this one. I would say, arguably, the Friday the 13th remake almost covers the first 3 movies
It
because it
does.
gets the hockey mask in it as well.
All right,
It covers
so
the first
we're gonna roll up 3 fucking movies. I think it's 1980 to 83, if I remember my math correctly, and Friday the 13th, 2009. Arguably one of the better remakes, but I think one of the better remakes of this crop is gonna come up next.
Mm-hmm.
TJ, where are you gonna land on Fridays?
Ooh, I'm starting. So we're doing okay. Hot take. Friday the 13th series is one of the worst fucking horror franchises of all time. It's not good. There's nothing good about it. Maybe the second and third one are
Fuck
good.
you. Nothing good about it.
Damn, TJ, you stole one of my points.
But the rest of them are fucking just garbage. I mean, the first one with the mom is kind of cool.
No, fuck you. Number 7 with Jason versus Carrie is awesome.
That's a real thing. Wow.
Hell yeah. Well, it's not Carrie, but it's a girl with Carrie powers.
Oh, it's the whole thing where like Corey Feldman character is all grown up now, and then he's in that house with all those kids.
No, that's a different. That's number 5.
Yeah. Regardless,
My favorite one is when they stick a pole in his dead body and lightning comes down.
By lightning, and his maggot face comes to life.
Yep. And he just
Fucking
barks
fantastic.
all over the place.
That's the one he goes to hell. I know that.
Yeah.
No, the next one. No, 2 more. There's 2 more.
I gotta tell you, this movie, the remake, I actually enjoy a lot. Jason runs in this one, which makes sense for the stupid like Michael Myers stuff where he walks and catches up to you and stuff like that. I don't understand the whole. There's that one part where he kidnaps a girl and keeps her underground for a while her older brother's looking for you. You get the great CW casting of like Daniel Panabaker, the other guy from Supernatural, then every boy.
Boobs.
Yeah, there's boobs.
This one definitely had boobs. I remember. And if we're talking
Great
slashers and horror,
Dude,
you gotta make
but
that
the
part of
first all of Fridays have boobs, so we're not
That's
gonna.
true.
Give
They're one. It is one of the more
Hard,
sexualized slasher
rock
franchises.
hard fake boobs.
But I think the
The
80s.
80s had good boobs.
I think I'll argue this one. 90s or 2000s, whatever this fucking came out, had better bare boobs. 80s boobs are great in those little crop tops and t-shirts. I mean, we're getting into a whole different thing right now. Now, film
hashtag the patriarchy here is gonna do a little boob rating.
I'm gonna do something a little off. I'm gonna do something a little off now. I'm gonna go with the fucking remake. Honestly, I think Friday the 13th is a shit thing. It has some good points. Yeah, but I like the kills. I like the use of Jason in this one.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because when I want to see Jason, I want to see a fucking a brutal killer that you got in Halloween.
What are you doing? The Ferris Bueller thing? You're not even doing the Friday the 13th one.
Oh yeah.
Fuck.
I'm going remake.
You're up, right?
Yes.
A slasher. Slashers have to be shitty. I don't like super slick slashers. They're good in terms of like dumb fun, but I honestly enjoy the first Friday the 13th. I honestly enjoy it. There has some good kills. It's a good twist in the end. If you don't know it, me and my wife do a Friday the 13th marathons every now and again. We watch it. We
You
laugh.
don't know that we're recording this on the 12th. Tomorrow is Friday the 13th, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we can get a shitty tattoo tomorrow if you guys want to. Yeah. I enjoy them for their shitty kills and their shitty premises and their shitty characters. It's the not so. I don't want to say it's the equivalent of a So Bad It's Good movie because I don't feel that they reach that level, but they have that enjoyment because of their creative and just stupid kills. And the remake really wanted to be cool, and that's what I don't like about it. Like the kills and the premise really wanted to be like, oh my god, look at this kill, instead of being like, look at this shitty kill. You know, it's a difference of how you showcase the kill.
Nah, but just because I think they focused in the originals. They were like that. They didn't think the kills looked shitty. When the fucking spear comes through Kevin Bacon's neck, they thought that shit was badass. You know what I mean? The machete in the face, the girl hanging in the third one when she's hanging from the rafter with all the crazy 3D they force into the third one. They thought they were making something cool, and I think in that way the 2009 one kind of lives up to the predecessor.
All right, that's fine. I'm gonna take that L. But I still hold that the first one, even if you don't want to go down the rabbit hole of why the fuck is the kid in the water and then he's a grown ass man and he has a sack on his head and then he's a hockey player and whatever you want to.
Well, he gets the hockey mask from franchise icon Shelly, played by Larry Zerner. Maybe one of the best characters in the whole series.
Such a fucking man.
Even if you want to go down that rabbit hole, the first one is fucking fantastic. I honestly think it's fucking fantastic. It's not on Halloween's level. Never. I'll never say it's a great movie, but I truly do enjoy this franchise for its shittiness. And the first one is far better than the remake, in my opinion. So it's 1-1. Brian, I know where you're going, but I want to hear it anyway.
You don't know where I'm going. You don't know anything about me.
I can read you like a book, bitch.
You don't know a goddamn thing about me.
I don't know how to read.
Before Yusuf, when Yusuf was in middle school, I was already doing Friday the 13th marathons. And
look at me, I'm old.
I have a complicated. We all know that when you get to a fandom first, you're better than the people who find it later. That's just the rules.
Okay.
The rules. It is the
gatekeeping.
Rules.
Yes. Stay back behind my gate, please. I have a complicated relationship. I love these movies. Every Friday the 13th that pops up, I always watch at least 2 of them. And sometimes I get wrapped up, and it's like you watch 2 and the next night the box set's still laying there, and you're just like, fuck it, I'll pop another one in. They're always a nice, like, tight hour and a half. They're real digestible. You just burn through them. The first one, legitimately great, creative. Like I said, not Halloween, but differentiated itself in the wake of Halloween. Whereas when, like, within the, it comes out like 3 years after. In that 3 years, like, a million slasher movies tried to be Halloween in that time. And, Friday the 13th, the cream rises, and it has a great twist, like Yusef talked about. One thing I will dock it for, it's one of the worst bunglings of, like, you had such an amazing ending, and then to just your next movie is just like, it's just some guy, whatever. It's just, you know what I mean? It's not. You had this amazing, like, kind of like defining moment twist, sleepaway camp style shocker at the end, and it was really great, and everybody loved it. And then the next one is just like, well, now he's just a guy and he just kills people, and there's nothing really much to it more than that. But I do think like I said, I think the remake kind of encompasses the first 3, and the first 3 are probably the best 3. I think of all, you guys talked about this, TJ called it the worst. It's definitely the most middling of the slasher franchises. Like, it never reaches the heights of the Nightmare franchise, but it also never reaches the depths of the Nightmare franchise either. I don't think there's a movie in this franchise that's as bad as the worst Nightmare. So it's like,
hey, Halloween has some bad fucking movies.
Yeah, Halloween's got some terrible fucking movies in the franchise too. I 100% agree. But I think Friday the 13th is the worst franchise with the best mascot. Jason is great visually, especially once the hockey mask came into it. I mean, that really nailed it down. So, like, he's a great icon, but the movies are kind of level off. The remake, man, I don't know. It's tough because I think they do touch on things from the first 3 movies, which is like picking and choosing the best of the franchise and pulling from it. I like Jason's kind of like underground tunnels. Like, he knows those woods. He lived there his whole life. He grew up there. I like that element of it, that he's almost more like a crazed survivalist, like man animal out there living in the woods. So I like all that. I'll tell you what really holds the remake back is all the other characters. Like, all the people in it suck. They're the worst. And, like, whereas you kind of have fun with some of the characters in the original franchise and then they die, these ones you're just like, just hurry up and fucking die already.
You want them all to die.
You with the bong in the suitcase, you go first.
Weed, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I do think I'm glad that the remake got a little appreciation during this, and I'm glad TJ voted for it. I think I'm still gonna throw my weight behind the original, though.
All right. Finally, the old man pays off. Joe, it's 2-1. Are you gonna send us off to a coin flip,
We
or
get
are
our
you
first
gonna
coin flip
vote for
of
the
the night?
right one?
I don't know. Watching Paris Hilton die in House of Wax is pretty fun. I mean, the original just holds its own weight, but it's the same fucking error. No, I actually really like the remake. I mean, not really like in the sense where I'm with most of this panel where I don't give a shit about these movies.
I do give a shit, though. It's
Well,
weird.
you
I
give
love
a shit.
them, but I acknowledge the level of quality. I do love them. Though. I really do.
love. There's only one good Freddy, the 13th movie,
What?
and that is Jason X.
Ooh, good point, Joe.
Because Jason X knows exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's Jason X and Freddy vs. Jason, and
I love Freddy.
and I actually find, except for the twist with the mother in Friday the 13th, the movie to be incredibly boring, and it has no tension in it. And it's just going. I forgot how to do that.
That's still Ferris Bueller.
Still Ferris Bueller.
Oh yeah. All right, so yeah, I'm going. You're gonna have to flip this coin because we're going.
I'm into it. Let's do it.
Wow.
All right,
I
here we
did not
go.
expect
All right,
a coin flip.
we're gonna go heads for the original and tails for the remake. And I'm gonna put it right up to the camera as soon as I do it. Oh, caught it. Heads for the original.
Original it is.
Oh yeah, the gods decided correctly. So that's 5-2.
Yep.
That's our last one.
For the originals. It could have been a tension one if it went for the remake on the Friday. It could potentially have tied it, and then it would have been a shitty content. But
no, it wouldn't.
It would have been tied.
No, it wouldn't have.
Because if taste, dude, just hear what's in my head.
He's saying there would have been a chance for a tie.
Come on, man, Joe, just come into my head and hear me out instead of.
I still great guys. I speak broken English, so I'm in here. I'm here to help.
Have you heard the president of the United States? Like this.
I try not to. I seriously.
So even though original's technically won, I still think this is one of the better fights. This is up there with Let Me In and Evil Dead.
I agree with that.
In terms of argument.
And I would put it up there, especially like when we were talking about the two Dawn of the Deads too, because very different in their style. You know what I mean? Sure. The original and the remake.
So we're gonna start off with who the fuck started off another one? TJ started off another one. So I'm gonna start off with the arguments of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974. And the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003.
An early, pretty early one, early remake.
And arguably the one that started off this trend of remakes.
Yeah, definitely.
In the 2000s, this slick.
I would imagine that when this came out, Dawn of the Dead was already in production because 28 Days Later had already been a hit. So that's what kind of sparked that on.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not good with casts. Do you guys want to say the remake cast? So a refresher.
Jessica Biel.
Arlie Ermy. You gotta call out Arlie Ermy as the sheriff. The guy from Any Given Sunday and Latimer from the program plays.
So arguably the final the main one is Jessica Biel.
He's Leatherface.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Andrew Bernarski, that's his name. Also, he's Christopher Walken's son in Batman Returns.
Yes, he is.
So bad.
Even if this episode sucked in your eyes, at least TJ got something out of this. He learned new today.
I mentioned that. I guarantee I mentioned that in the Any Given Sunday episode. If you go back and watch it.
Yeah, nobody goes.
No one watched it.
No one watched it.
Also,
and everybody on the show immediately forgets it when
yeah.
we're done.
Also, I officially won the fucking biggest bomb of the year because New Mutants got pushed back
bumped
to hell.
again. It might not even come out. It might go
Wait,
straight
New
to
Mutants got pushed again?
Yeah, they Disney pushing Mulan, just like I said they would.
Wait, they even pushed New Mutants.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here, New Mutants.
They knew no one was going to see that shit.
So Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm gonna start off with the remake and finish off with the original. Maybe that will tell you what I'm voting for, but the remake is fucking fun. Honestly, it's fun. The style, like Ryan said, is different. It's less gritty, even though it still feels dirty because it's the house. It
feels really sweaty. It's really sweaty.
Yeah, I would say it's more sweatier than
wet.
gritty.
Everything's damp.
Jessica Biel's very, very sweaty.
Yeah, it's hot. It's hot down here in Texas. I'm telling you guys, it's hot. You should visit
in that movie.
You should visit, and you're gonna be sweaty and with your perky boobs walking around as well.
That was her movie.
Such a boob-heavy episode. This movie does feature the heroine in a white tank top, which is a great horror movie trope. We gotta shout out an icon, which is like a white tank top.
This was her movie to be like, I'm not on Seventh Heaven anymore.
Yeah.
Well, no,
she was like, I was in the girly mag, and now I'm in this.
No, she had another movie where she. I'm not gonna go into it. So
go on.
Where she goes into the water and she's like in her underwear. What's that movie?
What you got, Mr. Skin pulled up on your computer?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, no, but that fits into the Seventh Heaven vein.
That was
like a wholesome-y kind of,
fucking conversation.
Can we talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre? God damn it.
We're talking about New Mutants. We're talking about Seventh Heaven. What the fuck is happening?
Stevie's going to have a lot of editing to do in this part, guys.
Cut everything out. The remake, fun. It's fun. It's very well made. I love Leatherface in the remake. He's more menacing. His skills are better executed in terms of visuals, but they're not as jarring as the original. At least in my opinion, the original is far more. It just fucking grabs your attention. And it doesn't let you go, and you're just reeling from the get-go. You're trying to understand what the fuck is happening. The first kill is by far one of the greatest kills in slasher movies, and it's super simple. And it's not showy like Friday the 13th, or it's not even as tension-filled as Halloween.
Yeah,
but it's one of the.
It's really a surprise. It really comes out of nowhere. They really hit you hard. You feel like you took the mallet.
The best jump scares, effective use of jump scares put to film, in my opinion at least. The dinner scene with the family, it fucking drives you crazy. It's crazy as hell, and if you know the backstory of how they just kept shooting and the actors were legit going fucking crazy during film. It adds another level. So yeah, I do honestly think there's a legit argument for the remake in this case. Not like the Halloween one. The Texas original is not untouchable, but if you had me to pick one of them, I'm going to pick the original. Brian, where are you going with this one?
I'm with you. I've long said that I think this is one of the best horror remakes out there. I actually think the prequel they did to Texas Chainsaw Massacre Beginnings was really great too. Arlie Ermey is really good and menacing in the remake, but he really gets to shine in the prequel because he's basically the real villainous lead of that one, which is cool. But we're not talking about that one. I just want to throw that out there and give it a little love. I really enjoyed this remake. Like you said, looks great. Stylized, almost feels like inspired kind of by like that David Finchery Fight Club 7 kind of look to it almost. I like the cast. I really like we talked about Andrew Bernarski. I love his Leatherface is huge and scary and really intense and intimidating. I like the scene where she's like hiding in the locker trying to get away from him at the slaughterhouse, and he's coming through, and she comes out and chops his arm off. That's so fucking cool. I love that. But the original feels like a fucking documentary. It feels like something you're not supposed to be watching.
God,
it feels like it's visceral. It feels also, I've never had a movie make me root for a guy in a wheelchair to die by chainsaw. And when I found myself like full on cheering when that guy was like, "Yeah, get him, fuck yeah," and that is a disabled person getting chainsawed in half that I'm cheering about. But you know what? Fuck it. You're just there. You're in the moment. You find yourself there. So yeah, I'm fully gonna go original on this one, but the remake could 100% have been the pick. It's a great movie in its own right. It deserves and also every other remake they've tried to do since then, which they've tried to 2 or 3 more times, just god awful. I mean, really just the worst, most terrible trash.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. Where are you going?
I have one thing to say, and Brian already kind of said it. This is one of the only movies where I shouldn't. The original.
It's like a
something
snuff
that I feel
film.
like I shouldn't be watching this. It's how it feels. How it feels from moment one. There's not one thing that hasn't been mentioned, which is done well in both movies. Like both movies are really well. The original, the dinner scene. It's probably one of the best dinner scenes in film. It's so fucking uncomfortable and scary, and to me those are the
when it comes
most
to the place in
moments.
the movie where like you're like, wow, I've seen some fucked up shit, and then they wheel out that old zombie, and they're like,
trying to feed him.
We're gonna put your old hand and make you cave her head in, and it's just so fucking bizarre.
So
keeps dropping the fucking hammer.
He's like sucking the blood off the.
Ugh.
It's the original. This is one of the few movies that you can't replicate that uncomfortable documentary feel. I remember I've seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre at 74 a lot. It was something I actually saw growing up, this and that, familiar, and then getting really into movies and whatnot. Someone was like, "Oh, you got to watch Last House on the Left," like the Wes Cravens. It has that same feel. And I remember watching that, being like, "No, that I know I'm watching a movie. It's uncomfortable because that's like rape, but I'm also not getting the weird banjos behind, like the weird country."
The other movie that gives me the feel of that is original Night of the Living Dead, George Romero's original Night of the Living Dead. You really feel like you're in it with them. You know what I mean? Like you're just the guy. Maybe I'm the dude holding the camera for whatever reason, but we're all fucking here. You know.
There's few movies that have Texas Chainsaw Massacre 74's feel. Night of the Living Dead's one of them, even though it is a found footage. The Blair Witch is one of them, where it's like, and The Exorcist is one of them, where you watch those movies and you go, I shouldn't be watching this. Like, someone's going to yell at me for watching this. That's how I feel for
Or
them.
like I'm bad for like I'm wrong for watching it. I feel dirty.
All right, we're just a bunch of naughty boys voting for the original. TJ, are you gonna be naughty with us?
And I was
no. No, yeah, probably.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can vote for whatever you want now. It doesn't matter anyway.
It doesn't make sense.
It's already
you
won.
can give it a pity vote. It's cool.
I was gonna say about the remake though. Yeah, sweaty. The whole thing is like they wanted to make it look dirty, but the first one is just fucking dirty. Like you just feel uncomfortable watching it the whole time, from them picking up, because you don't get, like, you got the girl hitchhiker in the remake, crazy scene where she pulls the gun out and the whole 9 happens, but like nothing compares to them picking up the dude with the switchblade in his hand and doing the tinfoil fire trick and then fucking with the kid in the wheelchair. Like that type of shit, it's so uncomfortable. And also too, like, I like the remakes kills. They use the hooks where they put the guys up on the hooks and they do the salt in his open wound and stuff like that, like shit like that. But from a movie from the original Texas Chainsaw, from a movie being made at that time, watching Leatherface put a girl on the hook, it seems so fucking real and raw.
Yeah.
Because you just
That
can't
it made
imagine
me
how
go,
they were even doing it at the
You
time.
hear it.
Yeah.
my whole back right now just fucking just like you think about it. Like I get you can do that.
Oh yeah,
in-
by the time I saw Chainsaw, I'd seen a lot of stabbings in movies and stuff, but that shit was
Yeah.
a whole different. You're like, oh my god!
One of the craziest things about 74 is it was banned in like UK.
yeah.
It was considered one of those violent films of all time. And then if you actually go back and watch the movie, you hear everything. You visualize in your head.
Yes.
You see no violence.
You hearing like tendons fucking tear and shit
And
like that. You're like, what
The
is
wet
happening?
smack of the hammer on the
Yeah.
dude's head, but there's no real
And-
blood. It's like a pool of blood even shows up on the
No.
floor. You know.
And something that we can like argue for pretty much all these movies, but this one in particularly, the screams from the girls are so visceral and so
Yeah.
terrifying. Honestly,
And-
they add like uncomfortable.
And like,
Oh yeah, by the
like-
end, you feel like she's fully insane. Like she'll
Oh,
never
yeah.
be okay. Like she's never gonna recover from this. She survived it, but she's never gonna fucking recover from
And
it.
like the knocks on the remake, it's like that first kill you get in the first one where he slides open the fucking door that just looked like a wall, mounts a guy. In this one, you get the rock song when he opens it, the chainsaw right before he even attacks the guy. There's no
Yeah.
surprise, so you kind of know what's happening. So they unfortunately they rock and rolled this movie at some point, which kind of fucking sucks. So
I mean,
I'm gonna
it was great to see Bernarski go through that door. You know,
Oh,
I always love Leatherface going through the screen. Look what your brother did to the door.
and the fact that like you get family in this one, but you don't get the family that you got in the fucking original.
No,
There's nothing
No.
that
they
beats that.
saved it.
Yeah. So
All right, so that settles it.
Clean sweep,
Nobody-
for the original, but
Yeah.
lots of respect for the remake on that one.
Lots
I
of-
feel like
lots of
that
respect.
remake could have easily beat some of the originals on this list.
oh yeah.
So we've argued it. We had a fun discussion. So everybody shut the fuck up about originals and remakes. We settled it. I guess
Yeah,
the
the
originals,
originals
are
are
better.
better, so all the people who said remakes
All
were bad
right,
are right.
all right.
Now
Next,
here's the
Shut up,
question.
guys.
Cape Fear versus Cape Fear.
Both suck.
Scarface
we're
versus
gonna-
Scarface.
I was saying we're gonna do all horror again. We're gonna do a whole nother one of horror movies, but it's all movies like remakes from black and white. So we're gonna do The Fly, The Thing.
We can do the Invisible Man now.
We're gonna,
But
we're gonna do Psycho, where it's just a shot-for-shot remake. We're gonna make you watch both of those.
I
figured
feel like
we would
the
keep
one that
doing-
would have been tough, but I don't think TJ or Joe watched it. Is the Suspiria one. I'm sorry to Harper back, but both are fantastic, and that would have been a great argument.
Different
But,
enough to just exist together, kind of like the way I feel about
100%.
Chainsaw.
So this was fun. I'm happy that I had another shot of being a human being in front of the camera with
You
my
had to redeem
boys.
yourself after that horrible showing last time.
Yeah, fuck Brazil, right? Brian, where can the people find you?
You know where you can find me. You can find me on Twitter at Hercules, just running my mouth about my bullshit.
All right, bullshit indeed. Joe, where can the people find your bullshit?
You can find me reviewing Lone Star Deception soon. Flyover State exclusive. More details to follow at
Wait,
Chittenden.
doesn't that movie star Eric Roberts?
Oh my god,
Oh my god! It may.
isn't that the guy from the night?
Oscar nominated Eric Roberts from Dark Knight.
The night. All right, TJ, where can the people find you?
You guys are on Flyover State of Film now. Check me out on TJ Dex on Twitter. I got all the crazy political tweets. I'm really pulling for Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders in this upcoming election. Let's do it, guys.
We are the change. Why I love movies.com. Bye.
Freddie Penn.